Welcome, everyone, back to Sit Downs with Charlie Brown. I'm your host, as always, Charlie Brown. And today with me, I have a very, very special guest who I think this has been in the works for about like a few months now, I want to say, trying to get you on here because I
A
think,
couple, yeah.
yeah. So I will allow you to introduce yourself. Introduce yourself. God, can't talk today as usual.
Been there. I'm Stanley Lukas. I am Charlie Grosvenor's longtime friend. Uh, we became friends on our school's clay target shooting team. I
Yeah.
believe, back in
Yeah.
freshman year of high school.
Yeah, back
But,
freshman year of high school is when we first really met, and it was on trap team. So
oh yeah,
that's sort of where we first met, and ever since then we've still remained friends, and pretty much have been even still to this day. Like you and I still hang out when I'm ever at home. Like we're both at home, I should say.
oh yeah. Gotta get
Yeah,
the boys together.
yeah. So yeah, the reason why I have brought you on is because I know this was a little while ago, but the four best words in all of sports were said. Pitchers and catchers report. It is baseball
Absolutely,
season.
absolutely.
Yep, baseball season is coming up. I forget when opening day is at the top of my head.
April Fool's Day,
Yeah, April 1st. I remember that.
right in the
So
middle, right in the middle of one of my classes. So
yeah.
might skip it, might
Hmm.
not. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like right now, I'm in school. Like I have no classes in person just because like of COVID.
Really?
So
Okay. Because every single one of mine is in person. So
yeah, because you're at Creighton, I
yeah.
should say. So
Yeah, as you can see, we take COVID protocols very seriously here at
yes,
Creighton University.
yeah,
I began collecting these a few weeks ago, so
yeah,
I've got quite the collection going. It actually
hmm
goes up farther, but
yeah. So one thing I wanted to talk to you about was the format of this year's season. Like, do you agree with it or disagree with it? Essentially.
so I'm first of all very grateful that there's 162 games.
Hmm.
Not much else I can really ask for there. If we have to make adjustments, we got to make adjustments.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the extra inning rule. That's the one thing I don't like is
Hmm.
I don't like the idea of having guy on second base because it's just there's no how does that come across in the stat books? I
Hmm.
think I think they charge it as a team error now. It's not an earned run.
Yeah.
But I would honestly, this sounds kind of ridiculous, but I would prefer a tie because at least there's
Hmm.
precedent for that. If you look
Hmm.
back early history MLB, there's plenty of ties, just like,
Hmm.
we ran out of daylight. Tie.
Yeah.
So I honestly prefer ties. I hate ties in sports. I don't
Hmm.
think there should be ties in sports, but when it comes to this,
Yeah.
you kind of have to make accommodations. But I also favorite trivia fact that came from last season. First player in MLB history since Barry Bonds should be walked to lead off the 10th inning.
Hmm.
Kyle Tucker on the Astros.
Oh, really?
Yep, because
Yeah.
they're experimenting with that. Like, what do we do with the guy in second? Do we walk a guy
Hmm.
to get?
Yeah. Yeah. Because here's my thing with the rules. Like say back in, I think it was like March or April when they said they were going to do like the 62 game season or something
Mm,
like that. Like, I originally was like, okay, I didn't mind it because it's like they want to kind of keep on schedule. They really couldn't do like a 100 game season. Otherwise, they'd be doing it into like November. So my biggest thing, like with the rules, like I agree with you. The whole starting like extra innings with like a runner on second base is kind of redundant. It's like it's a gimmick. It's just no, no, no.
the first time I saw that was in the World Baseball Classic,
Hmm.
the last one. I thought that is the stupidest thing I've ever
Yeah,
seen. I'm so glad it's not
yeah.
in the MLB.
Yeah. The one rule I will say I agree with is the universal DH, just because like I can cringe sometimes with seeing players hit with little to no practice, essentially.
Well, that's what something I put down too is that they're not having the universal DH this
Yeah.
year. So that's and then that goes into
Yeah. Well, I
as
personally
well as
would.
we'll talk about the bargaining agreement, but
Yeah. Well, I don't mind that essentially, just because like it's just like it just makes it a little bit easier on the pitchers. So.
right. Also, you get more playing time, you get more reps for
Hmm.
hitters.
Yeah.
You saw last year in the National League, you saw a lot of guys who got a lot more at bats.
Yeah.
And also, if you're into fantasy baseball,
Hmm.
um, It's great. I recently joined my friend's league, and I got a lot more points out of my players last year with that.
Right. But yeah, and also with another thing I want to kind of just briefly touch on was the expanded playoffs. Did I agree with it? Not really, just because it was enabling mediocrity, but I get why they did it. Just because say if there was a team that was a few wins away from from a playoff spot, it just makes it seem better.
Right. Mm-hmm. But that's something I put down. I'm happy about is they're doing the 10-team postseason this year.
Yeah,
There's some people who don't even like the 10 team. They want it to be less than that, more traditional. But I do like the 10 teams. I don't think there should be more than a third of a league in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's wrong. What is it? Is it the? I don't know much about the NHL. Doesn't the NHL have a large?
Yeah, so they do 8. They do a 16 team. So yeah,
that's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, no. So it's top 4 teams in each division this year will get postseason spots. Mm-hmm. But the main issue is a lot of them are just bad or will probably lose first round.
Right. Now I got a question for you, not to turn the tables here.
No, that's the thing.
Well, how do you feel about? I heard people saying they should do something else with the divisions in the MLB. It should be more like the NBA.
Yeah.
We have the two What are your thoughts on that?
I honestly don't know. I do feel it's a little weird still having 3 divisions because it seems you look at football, they have 4 in each conference. Mm-hmm. NHL only has 2 I think NBA only has 2 different conferences. So I honestly don't mind it because it's working, but I wouldn't be shocked if sometime in the near future they sat down and did some kind of alignment because they're at some point people get a little sick and tired of just seeing one team dominate a division.
That's right. And the reason I would like if they just sort of redrew the congressional districts, so to speak. Yeah. But the reason they had the divisions was for travel back in the day when you couldn't fly a private jet to and from every game. It was a lot of bus travel. So there's no real reason for that anymore.
Yeah.
So it would be nice to see maybe I'd say 2 divisions in each league would be good.
Yeah, I'd say so too.
I don't really because the NBA with their 2 conference that has its own issues. But I think part of the reason I hate to bring this up, but the Twins have lost. What is it? 21 consecutive.
21 straight, baby.
21 straight.
21 straight.
Oh man. I think part of the reason you've seen that is that the Twins division has been so weak that time period that we do well and then we get to the postseason and we just get crushed.
Yeah.
Although I guess you could say actually I take that back as the Indians made the World Series and the Royals won the World Series, but
yeah. I know I think the White Sox won a title back in the early 2000s.
Oh yeah.
I want to say
2005.
Yeah, 2005.
Which is what's funny about that World Series is that ended a 90+ year streak, and that didn't get talked about as much as the Cubs.
Yeah. No. So, kind of talking about the divisions, I kind of wanted to get your opinion, some predictions. Who do you think, starting with the AL? I personally, for the AL East, I know I despise their fan base to my very core, but I have the Yankees winning it just because, I look at the division it's not really anyone's competing in that one kind of time. The only one I really have in their sort of division is the Rays. That's about it.
No, I do have my predictions here, but there's I do want to mention a few more things about the format, format, as well as rule changes.
Yeah, sure, so, probably.
Just a little rapid fire here. I'm glad they're keeping the 162 game season. We've heard talk. This might come up in the bargaining agreement. Is the length of the season? You've heard talks of shortening it to 150 games.
Yeah.
I personally disagree with that. I share the same opinion as Joey Votto of the Reds, where he was asked about. He said, "Let's play 200 games." But something I'm concerned about that I don't think enough people are talking about is the minor leagues. There's been a lot of talk about, how much they're being paid. Last year was terrible for the minor leagues. And this year they're pushing the season back a month to make sure they can get all the players vaccinated before the start of the season. Yeah. And I understand that, I think that's a smart move. It should be done, but I am very concerned about that because that's another month on top of the entire season they already missed last year. I'm really concerned about what this means for prospects, for what's the league going to look like in X amount of years when all those players who were playing here are in the majors and they had that, and that's concerning because the you don't get better unless you're getting at bats.
Yeah. Like
baseball is all about.
And that's sort of like, I know I've mentioned this to you. I would not be shocked because the bargaining agreement's coming up. The bargaining agreement's probably going to end at the end of next season. I would not be shocked if they did a lockout just because like they have a lot of issues right now that they really need sorted out because COVID really destroyed their business model, and they now need to kind of like take a step back and like, all right, we got to try and fix this so we can get back.
Another interesting thing about the minor leagues is a couple more things. One, they're going to be testing a lot of rule changes this year in the minors. They're going to be implementing a pitch clock for 15 seconds. Another one I saw is they're using larger, less slippery bases, which is I didn't know about. That's interesting.
Yeah.
You see a lot of guys sliding off the base. I remember Byron Buxton a couple years ago. He had a huge streak.
Oh right, I remember.
It would have been a huge streak, except in the middle he had one where he beat the throw by a mile, but he was going so fast he slid right over.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So there's that. Also interesting about the minor leagues is they reshuffled the minor league teams this year. And the Twins now, I don't know, did this go through with the St. Paul Saints?
Yeah, no, it's official. They're going to probably.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, I don't mind it. People say like, oh, it's them selling out or something. As long as they really just kind of like, give the Saints a couple of their help the Saints kind of grow, then I think it can be a good partnership. Like,
well, I think that's a great move because the Saints are really good. They're not they weren't a minor league team. They were a professional baseball organization, and that's a great facility. They've got a lot of great people running that. So to have that as a minor league team, I think that's going to be really good for the future of the Twins.
Because I remember for a big portion of my life, like it was more fun to go to like a St. Paul Saints game than a Twins game, just because like I can't remember exactly. It was like, you pay like the $10 or $15 entry fee and then you go in and like concessions were really cheap for like 10 or $15. So it was like 20 bucks for a baseball game. It wasn't that bad.
That's something the Twins did well back in 2019 when they're still fans was they realized Twins were playing really well. Fans were wanting to come see the games, but they realized they still had empty seats. So they just lowered the ticket price and filled them up and still made money. And they don't make their money they do make money, but they don't make a bulk of that from ticket sales. They make it from concessions, from the gift shop, from all that.
Yeah, and that's the thing the reason why a lot of people like in the past didn't go watch the Twins is because they really weren't putting a viable product out there. That's like the main thing with a sports team. You got to put a viable product out there to get fan interest. So.
If you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
Another thing is the expanded roster. It's going to be a 26-team roster this year, 28 in September, and also a 5-man taxi squad with the minor leagues, which Twins having theirs, their minor league team right across the river.
Yeah.
Big plus. One more thing about the season format, and we can move on to predictions, is what do you think about the 7-inning doubleheaders?
That I personally don't mind just because like it makes it just because like I think the prime example is like the Cardinals or like I think it was the Marlins who got COVID first.
Both of them. Yeah.
Yeah. Both of them got COVID. And essentially it pretty much once the domino fell, it kind of pushed them all the way back. So I don't personally mind it.
Because of the 7-inning doubleheaders, they both still made the playoffs.
Yeah.
They're able to get their games in.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, like the thing is like with a lot of the teams in their division, like you look at the Marlins, like a lot of the teams in the division at the time were tripping over themselves. Same with St. Louis. Like I'd say the only team that was really a big threat in their division was like the Cubs. And even they weren't like glamorous as they have been in years past.
They got swept by the Marlins.
Yeah, exactly. So,
my thing with the doubleheaders, I think it's what else you're going to do.
Yeah.
They don't really have a choice. And like I said, with the extra innings rules, I like having a precedent in the stat books and the history books. And there is a precedent for shortened games. Obviously, there aren't that many in a season as there are last season going to be this season. But I think that, there's been those in the past. You have a lot of, went 6 innings, rains out. There's a precedent for that. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But the only thing that really bugs me about it is what happens when a pitcher throws 7 perfect innings. That's just going to really bug me because it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Trevor Bauer almost did it last year. It's going to really bother me.
No,
remember, 7 perfect.
I believe this was also last year. Kenta Maeda, he nearly threw a no-hitter. Like I think against I think it was either like the White Sox.
It was
the Brewers. It was against the Brewers, and I was really upset.
Eric Sogard hit a bloop single.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, because he would have.
Yeah.
Because literally, I remember this when we traded for Kenta Maeda. I was like, this is probably the biggest. This is our ace in the hole, essentially, because that's what the Twins have always lacked is an elite pitching staff. And it's not their fault necessarily. It's just hard to get players to come here.
What drives me insane is how every 2 years, 2 or 3 years, the Twins do this when they're contending. They never sign an ace. They sign 3-4 starters.
Yeah.
In the past, they did it with Jake Odorizzi and Michael Pineda. This year, Matt Shoemaker and J.A. Happ. When are we going to get that big ace? And I know they want so bad for Barrios to be the ace. I don't see it happening. I don't know. I
think that's something I feel like was been an issue for a while now. See, remember the Bomba squad essentially in 2019 team. Like the hitting core was phenomenal. Obviously, Nelson Cruz, Miguel Sano, Kepler, like so many of those guys. What was the one glaring issue that people were talking about? The pitching staff. Because it was it's a problem when Jake Odorizzi is considered your best starter, essentially.
You know what I was really excited about last year was the bullpen.
Yeah, the bullpen
I actually very strong.
Yeah, the bullpen I actually did like last year. I will admit that. So,
all right. Well, do you want to move on to predictions?
Yeah, like obviously, like a few things just before we kind of go to predictions. Yeah. A few things I want to ask you, sort of like the big free agents.
Moves. Yeah, I have that written down too.
Yeah, like I think the big moves like that stuck out to me were like a few. The first one is Trevor Bauer signing with the Dodgers. Like I know you and I talked about like where he could potentially go. Like I know you said you thought about the Mets, which I could have bought it because like they needed a new sort of like a revamp to the pitching core. So,
well, they got their ace. They have the best pitcher in baseball for the past 3 or 4 years, and they just need to get him some guys because he can only pitch once a week. But Bauer, it was announced he was going to the Mets, and then he signs with the Dodgers the next morning, and people were really mad at him about it.
Yeah.
I don't think it was his fault. There seemed like it was his
if you saw the numbers he was gonna get, money talks.
Yeah, but still not a good look for Bauer, who's got a history of not being,
What's my issue is that he is making more money than 3 teams combined. He has a payroll much larger than that.
It's a lot of money for one good season he had.
Yeah, like
a shortened season at that too.
And even still, like I think the Dodgers aren't overly concerned about it because they still got guys like Kershaw, Shaw, Joe Kelly. It's like it's just like, come on, do you really need another pitcher?
Well,
really?
I wrote this down. I wrote down the Dodgers rotation this year. Now I don't know if this is what the actual rotation is going to be. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. This is just what was on the Dodgers website. Their roster, their rotation wasn't numbered, but this is the order they were in. Number 1, Clayton Kershaw. Yeah. Number 2, Trevor Bauer. Number 3, Walker Buehler. Number 4, David Price. Number 5, Dustin May. That's scary.
Yeah,
that's really scary.
That's
and also their backup guys, their inning eaters are Julio Urias and Tony Gonsolin.
Yeah, they're pretty much the biggest threat to that.
Yeah.
So the other big free agency move that I wanted to get your opinion on was Nolan Arenado, the trade that he got they did for St. Louis from.
That's a very interesting story. I will shout out one of my favorite baseball YouTube channels. You ever watch Foolish Baseball?
Yeah, I've seen Foolish Baseball.
He
He's a cool guy.
he has a really good video on the Nolan Arenado trade and how basically the Colorado Rockies did something kind of shady with him. They knew they were not going to be able to pay him, and they knew he wouldn't.
Yeah.
He didn't want to be there.
Mhm.
So what they did was, allegedly, is part of it. Not so allegedly is they gave him the contract, knew they weren't going to be able to pay it all the way,
Yeah.
and then they tried to make him leave. They
Mhm.
just made a horrible team. Allegedly, they made a horrible team on purpose to make him leave,
Yeah.
so that he'd look like the bad guy, like he wasn't loyal to Colorado.
Yeah.
But that's they basically paid the Cardinals $80 million to have Nolan Arenado.
It's basically a franchise killing move in my eyes, just because
Yep.
this, because he was probably one of the best players left on this team.
He might have been the best player, one of the best players
the Rockies have ever
Rockies history.
Yeah. Because you look at most of the guys they've had, it's usually washed up vets. Because I know they've had Justin Morneau. I know they've had a couple different older players on their team.
He's gonna have his number retired on the Rockies, but
yeah. So
it's a pretty ugly situation. I don't know how like you said, I don't know how the Rockies are ever gonna recover from this.
Yeah. So
part of it too is the Rockies is they have a hard time getting. You said the Twins have a hard time getting pitchers to come to them, which I find interesting because you'd think that pitchers would love playing in that Target Field. It's so cold for half the season, not a lot of fly balls. You'd think that'd be great. They love. It's like the opposite of Coors Field. And so part of the reason that Rockies they have a hard time getting pitchers. Why would you want to pitch in Denver, Colorado?
Yeah, the elevation is what people talk about. It's hard for them. But yeah. So anyway, that's kind of the big free agent moves I wanted to touch on. I know there were a lot.
Lindor too.
Yeah, Lindor.
I had actually a few written down. If you want to just rapid fire.
Yeah,
Lindor,
sure. Go ahead.
Lindor, super happy about. Love Frankie Lindor. Love the Mets. Great comment for me, especially after them not getting Bauer. I think it's great. Arenado, we went over. I'm glad. I forgot to mention. Really happy Arenado's on a contending team. That's going to be really good for him.
Yeah.
I'm not a Cardinals fan. I don't really like the Cardinals, but good for him. Happy for him. Another thing with Lindor, AL Central, the Indians not looking good.
Yeah.
I think they have the lowest payroll. It's like 20 million.
Yeah, they have
payroll.
They have probably the lowest payroll in the division.
So that's going to be a lot easier for the Twins to only have one team to really worry about in that division, being the White Sox. Although I would like it if we had more than two competitive teams in the division. I think that'd be nice. But a few more. George Springer, Marcus Semien to the Blue Jays. When we get into the predictions, that helped me form a prediction about the Blue Jays. I think that's going to be really good for them, especially with Bo Bichette, Guerrero Jr. That team's going to be really good in the future and this year. Another notable is JT Realmuto re-signed with the Phillies. Huge contract.
I was surprised they re-signed him. I thought the Mets were probably going to give him a contract. So
Fernando Tatis Jr. massive contract.
Yeah, no, that was
whoa. Was it 12 years?
Yeah, it's
major.
It's essentially the second contract Mike Trout. It's below Mike Trout's contract. I'm he's getting the good money.
He plays in California, so the government gets about half of that.
Yeah, pretty much.
There's going to be a lot of great park benches built with that Tatis money in San Diego.
Yeah.
Jock Peterson to the Cubs.
Yeah.
Jock Peterson, my least favorite player in baseball. I hate Jock Peterson. I'm sorry. I just think he's a tool.
It's fine.
He's a great player. I hate him. I'm not a Jock Peterson fan. James McCann to the Mets. I don't think enough people are talking about that. James McCann's he was an all-star catcher, but he was on the White Sox and they had Grandal, so he didn't really get much playing time. Had him on my fantasy team. When he did play, he'd rake. So James McCann, excited to see him on the Mets.
Yeah.
Let's see. Kike Hernandez to the Red Sox. I love Kike Hernandez. I don't like the Dodgers, so good for me. Let's see. What else we got? Oh, the Twins. Angelton Simmons.
Yeah.
Really excited about that. Major defensive upgrade. Polanco's a decent shortstop, but Simmons is one of the best in the league. And with him being a AL West player. I don't watch him play much, so I'm really excited to see him on the Twins.
Yeah.
Nelson Cruz signed an extension.
Yeah.
40-year-old Nelson Cruz, who's still mashing 450-foot homers.
He defines time itself to hit a
Oh, he's
metric baton
amazing.
of
He is
Barons.
amazing. Then Trevor May to the Mets. I mentioned the Twins bullpen being great last year. I'm really concerned about the bullpen this year.
Yeah.
They lost Trevor May. They lost Sergio Romo. Haven't been impressed with the relievers that we have left in spring training this year so far.
Yeah, because there have been a couple like bad games.
Granted, I've only seen Taylor Rogers once and Tyler Duffy once in spring training, but the Rogers one was ugly. A lot of walks. The Tyler Duffy one, he got rocked. So not super hyped about that. They lost Sergio Romo too. Not as much of an impact as Trevor May.
The Romo one I don't mind just because like
I love
Sergio him,
Romo.
But it's like he's just it's just he had a bit of dip in production this year. So
he still was picking up saves though.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm not happy about the Twins bullpen.
Yeah, no, the bullpen's the biggest issue for me.
And the last notes I had for free agent signings written down was relief pitcher Anthony Bass is now on the Miami Marlins, so we have a fish on the fish. So I'm excited about that. Also, he will be teammates with Creighton alum Pat Venditti.
Oh yeah, Venditti's on him.
Venditti, who is the ambidextrous pitcher.
Yeah.
So Creighton University alum Pat Venditti, love him. Yeah. Second best MLB pitcher to come from Creighton University. First being Bob Gibson. Hard to top that.
Yeah, but, that's true.
Let's see. You want to move on to predictions now?
Yeah, sure. So looking at the AL for the East, okay, look, I despise this fan base, and I still question why one of my cousins, Jimmy, roots for this team.
Is Jimmy from Minnesota?
Yeah, no, Jimmy was born in Minnesota, and he currently lives in Ohio. But for some reason, he roots for the Yankees. I'm like, dude, why?
No offense to Jimmy. I've never met the guy, but I don't like him.
Yeah, well,
Jimmy, if you're watching this, I'm sorry, buddy, but
yeah, no, but yeah. Anyway,
you got issues, man.
Yeah. Anyway, like I had them winning the division just because, like.
So do I. Yeah.
Just because, like, they're like here's the thing. Like, I think the Rays have a shot. But it's a long shot.
I don't. Well, my prediction for my picks, I wrote down every single finish, every single place. So in the East, I got the Yankees. Second, I have the Blue Jays, which I think might be a little early for me to call that, but maybe next year. But I still have more with the Rays. I think the Rays kind of had their one shot last year, and I think they lost Blake Snell. Can't blame Blake Snell for leaving after his career ended there, but I don't see it. I got the Blue Jays breaking out, finishing second in the division. Then I got the Rays in third, and then the bottom two is actually where it gets very bold because I have the Orioles finishing in fourth over the Red Sox.
Yeah, no, I buy that because it seems like the Red Sox have gotten very complacent, essentially.
I think they're on the verge of a rebuild.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think
they're great for a decade, a decade, but
So for mine, I have obviously Yankees. I have the Rays as the number 2, just because
that's fair.
I don't know why this is, but every time we think they're going to be bad, they somehow manage to pull off the magical playoff runs and go very deep, even though they run one of the lowest payrolls in baseball and are notorious for being cheap. So
imagine how much more successful they would be if they spent just maybe a tenth more.
Yeah, no, here's the thing. If they opened up the wallets and actually paid players, they could actually be a great baseball team.
They can do it too. They're able. Their owner's just incredibly cheap.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to.
Yeah.
But so that's our AL East.
Yeah. So for my Central, I have the Twins barely. Keywords is barely. The only reason why normally it was a flip-flop for me between the White Sox and the Twins. The reason I went with the Twins is because of managers. The White Sox just brought in Tony La Russa.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, they brought in Tony La Russa, which why? I don't
That's
understand.
highly questionable.
Yeah. So that's kind of why. Because like I just feel like, not to knock him, it's just like I feel like some of his tactics are a bit outdated.
He hasn't managed a professional baseball team in 5 years.
Yeah, that's kind of why I put the
when he's not drinking and driving, that is.
yeah. Yeah. But yeah, third place I had Cleveland, just because like they still have some decent players to win baseball games with. Then I did Royals, then Tigers, because Royals, they signed a couple guys like Carlos Santana. I'm trying to think of who else they really signed. Signed that, not like super overly impressive players, star
Andrew
players.
Benintendi.
Yeah, Benintendi. But I
Jorge
feel
Soler. Jorge Soler is looking really good.
Yeah.
He might be like Miguel Sano, where he strikes out 300 times and hits 40 homers. But I have the exact same predictions as you for the Central, except I don't think it'll be that close between the Twins and the White Sox. I'm not yet buying into the White Sox hype.
Yeah.
You can throw a bunch of guys together, doesn't mean they're going to work.
Yeah, that's true.
But I got Twins, Sox, Cleveland baseball team, Royals, and Tigers. But I wrote on the side here that kind of bold prediction, but I could see the Royals finishing better than the Cleveland Indians.
Yeah, that's true. True.
The
reason
definitely, I think, but
yeah, the reason why I had them lower is just because like they still are kind of in their rebuild year. So
they have a couple young pitchers who are very promising, in my opinion, on the Royals.
Yeah.
I think I might be wrong about this, but I believe it's Brady Singer is the one who starting pitcher. He reminds me a lot of Mark Burley in the sense that he pitches very quick. Just get the ball from the catcher, throw it.
Yeah.
Get it, throw it. Those are just my absolute favorite pitchers. They don't need a pitch clock. When they implement that, they're not going to be affected by that at all. So I'm excited to see that.
Yeah. So the West, I know people will probably be a little upset with this, but I have the good old Astros winning that division, just because it's like it seems like a lot of teams here. I think Angels, like the problem is they needed pitching help. They got none of it during the offseason.
Well, they did pick up Jose Quintana and Alex Cobb, which people sort of yawn at. I think Jose Quintana, that is something you can yawn at. But Alex Cobb, I think that's a decent pickup. He was on the Orioles, so a lot of people are going to scoff at him, but he's still a good pitcher. Just a very bad team he was on.
Yeah. Mariners are also in that limbo of trying to rebuild. They're also, is Ichiro back? Because I saw like a spring
taking batting practice.
Yeah, I saw him taking batting practice. Like, didn't he retire?
He's a coach, I believe now, but he still shows up in full uniform and is taking cuts. So
yeah, okay.
He just loves the game.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
Oh.
Yeah, Rangers. I'm just wondering what are they going to complain about? What unwritten rule are they going to complain about next? Really, that's my biggest thing with them.
You can't beat a team that's going to finish dead last.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
The rule.
Exactly.
Get Joey Gallo out of there, man. Come on, yeah. I love Joey Gallo. Get him out of there.
Yeah.
First player since Mark McGwire to get his first or his 100th home run before his 100th single.
Yeah.
But my AL West, I've actually in first place. I've got Oakland A's.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's my favorite team in the division. So a little biased, but I think they're going to finish first. Might be wrong. Probably will be wrong, but that's my gut telling me A's. Yeah. Second, I have the Angels, which is also, this is my boldest division by far.
Yeah.
And then third place, I do have the Houston Astros in third. They lost Springer. They lost. They didn't lose anyone else. Who was the?
Really, they didn't lose anyone else. That's the reason why.
I'm thinking of Marcus Semien, who the A's lost, which I didn't consider in my prediction.
Yeah, that's the reason why I had Houston winning, just because they still got their pitching staff from last year that took them to the finals, or not the finals, to like the conference finals.
Right.
But yeah.
So then I've got then I have Rangers in fourth, and then Mariners dead last. Did you see the leaked Zoom call with the Mariners president?
That's like a whole, like, what are you doing, dude?
What a horrible man.
That's just like, oh my God, I don't even
readily admitting to screwing over your players and not paying them and tanking and being proud of that,
Mhm.
with a little sprinkle of casual racism on top. With
Yeah,
complaining about your players not being able to speak English. Who cares?
glorious.
Who
Yeah.
cares?
Yeah. So yeah. Next up we got the NL East. So for this one, this is a bit of a bold one for me. I had Mets winning the division just because like I feel like they finally break out of the muck this year.
Yep.
Second place, I have Philly for the time being, but that could probably change.
Okay.
Third, I have Nationals just because like I know they lost a lot of guys and they had a bit of a down year, but I feel like now they could probably bounce back after they're going to get Zimmerman back. They're going to get a lot of the guys that opted out. They got a couple prospects on the way in. So that's kind of why I have them in the third spot. Then it goes Miami and then Atlanta.
So this is the biggest. This is the division so far that has the biggest difference between our two picks.
Mm-hmm.
So, first place, I have the Braves. I love the Mets. They're one of my favorite. They're probably my favorite National League team. I love the lovable loser Mets.
Yeah.
But I still have the Braves in first. I think that's the safe pick. The Mets on paper, in my opinion, that's a first place team, but they're the Mets, and every year this happens. For the past ever since they were in the World Series, I've noticed every year in the preseason, everyone's like, the Mets are going to be great. The Mets are going to, come back this year. They're going to be great. And they always finish like fourth in their division.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to be the case this year. They got new ownership now.
They have Steve Cohen.
Thank the Lord for Steve Cohen. But I still think next year I could definitely see them taking first. I think the Braves sort of dynasty recently has kind of come to an end.
Yeah.
Although I don't think so, because they got so many young players who are so good, and they got the MVP.
Yeah.
Pitching's gonna be a question, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But they did win their first playoff series in a long time last year, so they're trending upwards. So I still got them in first place.
Yeah, I think the reason why I put them in last is just because like
Did you put them in last?
Yeah, I put them in. I put them in last. Now that I'm thinking about it, it wasn't a smart choice. It's because
I'm not gonna lie, Chuck. That's not a smart choice.
It's an Atlanta. Look, it's an Atlanta team, dude. You gotta think about it.
All right, we have this recorded. If the Braves finish dead last in their division, I will pay you $50.
Okay, all right.
You know what? I'll pay you $1 for each game they win.
Okay, all right. So next division after that.
Oh, I didn't finish my.
Oh yeah, keep going. Yeah,
I've actually got the Marlins in third.
Yeah, that's smart.
Might be bold. Nationals in fourth. I know people are expecting them to be a lot better this year. They did make some pickups, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't feel good about them. And then in last, I've got the Phillies.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the Phillies are going to be good at all this year.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I felt like I picked the Phillies is because they brought back Real Muto, and they actually did stuff with the bullpen, which was horrendously bad last year.
The historically worst bullpen in MLB history.
Mm-hmm.
Was, I think, either last year or the year before.
Yeah.
But,
so.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now.
Yeah. So for the NL Central, I have Cardinals winning that division by probably a country mile, just because they just got Arenado. I feel like he's probably in a better environment to thrive in. In second place, I actually have the Brewers. I don't think they make the playoffs, but I think they definitely will be in second just because they still have some they still have something they can be competitive with.
Right. They got Yelich. They got now
they don't have much, but they got
not
something.
Much else. Yeah, they got something there.
Yeah.
A lot more you can say than the other few.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Teams.
Third place, I have the Cubs just because they're underachieving and it's I won't put them in dead last just because they still have guys like Bryant, Rizzo. You
got to remember the Pirates are in this division.
Yeah. So. And then I have Cincinnati because they just lost Trevor Bauer and are rebuilding.
Right.
And then I have the Pirates who have blown everything up.
So I've got the Cardinals finishing first too. easily. I got the Cubs in second. Then I have the Reds in third. I really wanted to put, if the Reds still had Bauer, I'd put the Reds second in the division.
Yeah.
But and you said they're rebuilding, but I think they're towards the end of the rebuild, and they emerged with some real good players, and I think they'll be promising. Then you've got you got Cards, Cubs, Reds in third, Brewers I have in fourth. Like I said, that I honestly think Christian Yelich there's nothing more besides Christian Yelich that's really separating them from the Pirates, in my opinion. But that might be a little harsh. The Pirates are pretty terrible.
Yeah, because they just traded Tyon to the Yankees. So
right, and Chris Archer back to the Rays, which is
Chris Archer,
a hilarious trade.
Yeah, Chris Archer leaves and then goes back to Tampa Bay.
The Rays traded Chris Archer to the Pirates.
Yeah, they traded him to the Pirates, and then he plays out his contract, and then just like I'm going back home.
They get much better players from him than the Pirates.
Yeah,
some with the Pirates players leaving Pittsburgh and then suddenly becoming really good. There might be something going on there. But then then the Rays trade him and then they get the guy back. So yeah, that's pretty hilarious. Poor Pirates fans, man.
Yeah.
The NL West.
Yeah. So this one I have obviously the Dodgers leading. However, second place team is the Padres, because I would not be shocked if them and the Dodgers were probably fighting for the division, because the Padres actually had a pretty damn good offseason. Not only did you sign
very good, one of the best.
Yeah, no, they got Keone Keller for the bullpen. They got Yu Darvish. They got Blake Snell. They got a bunch of great players for this team, and they have literally one goal in mind: beating LA. They're the one.
I can support that. They've got Chris Paddock too. They got their infield's insane. They got is Tommy Pham an outfielder? I believe so. Yeah. But they've got Machado, Hosmer, Tatis. Who's their second baseman, man? That's bothering me. I can't remember, but
I think did they trade for someone?
I'm gonna look that up.
I also know they did sign that Korean guy from.
Oh yeah, that might be who I'm thinking of.
Yeah, that might be who you're thinking of.
Yeah, what's his name?
Give me
Kim Ha-seong.
Yeah, Kim Ha-seong. That's
Kim Ha-seong. Yep. That'll be exciting to watch. I forgot about that.
Yeah, because that's definitely definitely what I could see happening. Third place, I have the Diamondbacks. I know they're not special, but I feel like they have some decent prospects and pieces.
Right.
Also, the next team down, Giants. The problem is they're kind of like in a limbo because a lot of their pitchers and batters are kind of aging. Like their best pitcher last year was in his early 30s. So yeah, and then last place I have Colorado, because they are bad.
Yep. So my list is pretty similar. I've got Dodgers first, Padres second. I don't think it'll be as close as you say. It might be. I hope it is.
I would really like it to be.
Dodgers, Padres. I have Giants in third. I think the Giants have their basement dwelling for a while, and they've made a lot of improvements. Got a lot of really exciting young players. Carl Yastrzemski's grandson, which is cool.
Yeah.
They had that guy who's like a 30-year-old rookie who batted like 400 last year.
Yeah. Wait, I just remembered, like, is it an odd year? Because according to my Farmer's Almanac, it's an odd year. If it's an odd year, then they're really good and going to win the playoffs.
But the past few years, that hasn't been true.
Yeah.
2020 wasn't good. Well, it was better for them, but, 2018. Yeah.
Well, I don't think they expected to get there. They were expecting to be much worse.
That the Almanac hasn't been accurate for the past few years. But
yeah, that's true.
Let's see here. Then I have the Diamondbacks in fourth, and not much to say there, and then the Rockies dead last.
Yeah. So, who do you think's going to win the whole thing? If you had to call it right now.
I really hope I'm wrong, but the Dodgers are going to win their second consecutive World Series.
Yeah, same here. Like, the team I really want to see go is the Padres, just because I think they're even though like they've been having a lot of hype recently. I think they can do it.
I don't think they will. Part of me just doesn't. I just don't know.
They're probably not ready
I can see
yet.
them making the NLCS
Mhm.
next year. I agree, though.
Yeah.
All the pieces got to fall into place. But
and then sort of kind of one of the last things I wanted to touch up with you is like, who do you see being like the biggest tankers this year? Like, obviously, like I had my top three are Pittsburgh, the Rockies, and the Rangers.
So the obvious choices are going to be for me, Mariners, Rangers, Tigers. Maybe not Tigers so much.
Yeah, well, Tigers, they keep having conflicting visions. Like, are they rebuild? Are they competitive or are they tanking?
Mm-hmm.
So
then I've got of course, the Rockies, Pirates. Now I kind of put my sort of surprise collapse, and by when I was thinking collapse, I was thinking teams that have been doing well, they're going to collapse, or have been sort of trending downwards, and they're going to fully
essentially a team that would go all in at the deadline, and then by August take a nosedive. Yeah.
So the two I have written down, one for each league. I have the Red Sox and the Phillies. I think they're going to both finish dead last. I think that's going to initiate a rebuild for both those teams. Might be a little more bold for the Red Sox, maybe, just because the Red Sox they tend to have very short periods of droughts. But Phillies, Phillies aren't looking good to me. I don't believe in it at all.
Yeah, that's fair.
Then what else we got here? I also I put down a few dark horse candidates.
Yeah, sure.
I think the Angels are going to surprise a lot of people. Like I mentioned Keaton and Cobb, I forgot to mention Jose Iglesias, who that was a great replacement for Angelton Simmons. Very kind of in his career twilight, but I've been watching. Have you seen the highlights of him in spring training? Jose Iglesias?
I've seen a little bit of the
highlights.
So
he's pretty good defensively still.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good replacement for Simmons. That defensive void is kind of filled. And also, I have the Twins making the ALCS.
Yeah, I
really hope I'm right.
It probably will not happen, but
why not? Why not be optimistic? I've been pessimistic this whole time.
That's the thing. Like
that got me nowhere.
I really thought last year they could do it. I thought hey, it's not the Yankees this time. We still got some good pieces, but then I'm like, why do you break my heart again?
I could see the Twins. Who would they end up playing in my prediction? They would play the A's, who were the last team they beat in the playoffs, I believe.
Yeah.
Were the A's.
So, they beat the A's. So
if that's the case, I think they're going to win 1 year.
Yeah.
Or one game. They're going to win at least one game, in my opinion. They have to.
I just really kind of want them to win one, just so that the 21 streaks is over, just because at this point it's just getting depressing. No one's expecting you to win a World Series. You've already won two, one in the 80 and 89 and one in 91. That you're fine on championships. Just win a playoff game.
Yeah.
Aggravating.
If you and I if they get swept in the playoffs this year, I want you to come with me. I'm going to go to Target Field, and I'm going to take a power washer, and I'm going to pressure wash angry messages into that soft sandstone on the side of the building, or limestone.
Yeah. No. What you got to do. No, here's what I'm going to do. I will literally, the infamous video of where the guys outside of the Cleveland Browns stadium, he goes,
factory of sadness.
Factory of sadness. That is what I will probably do. So
just take the win out of the Twins logo.
Yeah, that's what they're the tease now. They get the rest of the logo back when they win a playoff game.
I'm repping my LG Twins baseball jersey or sweatshirt of the Korean Baseball League.
Yeah, I left my
shout out to the LG Twins.
Yeah, I left my Twins jersey at home. I haven't told you this yet, but I actually splurged and got a Kenta Maeda jersey. So.
Ooh, I want to get a Buxton one.
Yeah,
the powder blue one. I want a Buxton jersey.
Yeah, I got Maeda because he's probably the best pitcher we've had since who was the last good pitcher I remember having?
Johan Santana.
Yeah, so it's cool. So
yeah, it'd be good. Or Irvin Santana when he was
Irvin Santana.
Yeah.
So,
but that was That's
Mhm.
the all I got left on my notes is the
Mhm.
lockout. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. No, I really had no other notes, man. But hey, listen, I really appreciate you
I got a
coming
bit
on.
I got a bit on the lockout though here.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
so
yeah.
I did a little research into this before I hopped on here with you. Last year, before the
Mhm.
season started, they were unable to reach a negotiation over a 1 month delay to the season. And I
Right.
believe that was they're negotiating for this season, the 1 month
Mhm.
delay.
Yeah, they wanted to
Maybe
push it.
not. I don't know.
They wanted to
But
push it back a month.
yeah, they refused to negotiate with the owners. The players did.
Yeah.
And this year in spring training, the same thing happened. So that's not looking good. The bargaining
Yeah.
agreement expires December 1st of this year. Manfred is sort of a stooge to the, not sort of, he is an owner stooge,
Mhm.
and that's not going to help the cause.
Yeah.
I looked it up because I was curious. I'm like, the MLB has not had a lockout in a long time, while these
Mhm.
other major
Because I
sports
think it
have.
was like what? Like I want to say, I know, was it, I forget when it last was. Was there one in the early 2000s?
94 and 95 was the
Yes.
lockout where
So that
they
was,
lost the playoffs, and then the next season was delayed. So it was 94 and 95.
yeah.
And I looked it
See,
up, and the last for each major North American sport, NFL in 2011, they didn't lose any games, but
yeah.
still.
Uh,
NBA in 2011, and the NHL in the 2012-2013
yeah,
season.
yeah, because they had like, they had some issues with the players
So
union. So
not to say it's due for the MLB to
yeah,
lockout, but I really hope it's not. But
yeah,
yeah.
like I don't wish for it. I don't wish for it to happen either, but I just
Mm-hmm.
feel like it might be something that's pending just because like I felt like because I think pretty much like it was evidence like I think the first week of the season last year when they came back it was apparent that they were not
Right.
ready because
Right.
first because originally like they had a really bad argument trying to get back in the first place. Then like the first game back with the Yankees versus Nationals, huge lightning storm and rainstorm delayed that. And then a week goes by.
When Manfred was given
Yeah.
they're interviewing him, and
Yeah.
there's
Manfred was
lightning behind him.
yeah, there's like I was like, oh, this should be good.
The
But
season's
yeah,
perfectly fine.
yeah. But then yeah. Then that first week goes by, already the Marlins get COVID, and
Yeah.
then it's like just domino effects. Indians get COVID, like Cardinals get
Still
COVID.
better than the NFL, though, in my opinion, in terms
Yeah,
of handling it.
yeah. And it just felt like that all that happened during the season, the NFLP, the players union is going to
Mm,
use at man to try and get Manfred gone
yeah.
because I feel like that's the only way this really gets resolved. It's just because like this whole season, Manfred's just really been in the way, and it's
Yeah.
not trying to
Yeah.
criticize him in any way, shape, or form. It's what.
Oh, I am trying to criticize him in every
Yeah,
way,
no,
shape, and
but
form.
yeah, but that's the
Uh,
thing. I just feel like that he is causing more problem. He's causing more problems than solutions,
yeah.
essentially. So
Then another thing I saw was when I was researching this is I didn't know about this. Players are upset with the lack of free agent spending this offseason.
mhm.
And I'm guessing this must be a trend if that for them to be this upset
Yeah.
about it. But you think this year there's we talked about a lot of huge signings, a lot of money being thrown around, but that's only been done by a fraction of the league. According to this article I looked at, this is written in about a month ago, so I don't know how accurate, about a month and a half ago, so I don't know if this number's changed at all, but it said that 10 teams spent less than $15 million on free agents this year, and the players aren't too happy about that, as you can imagine. They're
Yeah,
trying
well,
to
I
retain.
think the issue is that owners were concerned about spending money
Mhm.
just because of like
Mhm.
COVID really wrecked a lot of people's
Mhm.
incomes, and that's why you didn't see a lot of big free agency
Right.
signings because like attendances they couldn't rely on attendances,
Right.
the normal stuff for funding. They really had to rely on like TV revenues, merchandise sales. They didn't really have the money to pay some of the players. So
Yeah.
that's kind of why we didn't see a whole lot of big spending. Would I have liked to see some? Yeah, but it's really something you couldn't do because of the current state of affairs.
Yeah. One more thing. want to talk about the Twins a little bit. Who are you? I got a few players in mind. Who are you most excited about on the Twins this year?
Person I'm most excited about. Obviously, like I've said, I own a Kenta Maeda jersey. Like I am a big fan of his. I think he's like
Yep.
one of the best pitchers in this league right now. Obviously Nelson Cruz is another player. I know he's defying time by itself, but he can still hit a barrage of bombs. So, yeah.
So in my list, I got. I think my prediction is I think Miguel Sano is going to have his best career year this year. Not too much of a bold prediction. I think it might be, but I think he's going to do really, really well.
Right.
I also believe, like you said, Kenta Maeda. Really excited to see how Angelton Simmons performs. Also really excited to see how Josh Donaldson performs healthy. Knock on wood. Hope he stays healthy because we didn't really get to see him in his full glory last year.
The bringer of rain.
Buxton too. I'd love to see him have a full healthy season for once in his friggin' career.
Because the thing is, both of those guys are great players when they're healthy. Key words.
Yep.
So
no player is great when they're not healthy, but they just have problems staying healthy. But and then I think the player who's got the most to prove this year is Mitch Garver because I was looking up projected lineups for this year, and a lot of them had Ryan Jeffers at catcher, which I thought was interesting. Jeffers had a great year last year.
Yeah.
But Mitch Garver, not so much. I know this because I had him on my fantasy team. He didn't do great. I think he batted like under 200. But he's got a lot to prove this year. Be interesting to see how much they use Jeffers over Garver.
Yeah.
Also, very excited about Brent Rooker. He's my guy this year who I'm picking to be breakout rookie. He was doing great last year until his arm exploded.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited to see Brent Rooker break out. Alex Kirilloff will be fun too.
Kirilloff.
I'm interested to see how they fill in that left field vacancy. Rosario gone, if they're going all in on Kirilloff or if they're gonna move guys around. But the lineup will be interesting too. With Simmons now, Luis Arias.
Yeah.
No longer at second. It'll be Polanco at second, which I'm kind of bummed about because he's honestly one of my favorite players on the Twins. I love Luis Arias. I think he's going to hit 400 one year.
Yeah.
But I'd really like for him to get more at bats, but it sounds like they're going to be using him pretty frequently as sort of how they did Marwin Gonzalez last year.
Yeah.
Just moving him, and 2 years ago, moving him around everywhere. So I really hope he gets as many at bats as he can. But that's what I'm concerned about.
I'd say another player who might be on like the block of you got to show us a little more might be Kepler, just because he's a bit of a light switch. One minute he's playing out of his mind and smashing it to the back field. The other it's like he's a strikeout magnet. So
one year he can't hit lefties at all. Next year he can only hit lefties. So I'd love to see him have a good just solid year. Like you said, he's going to have to step up with Rosario gone. He's going to have to start pulling more weight.
Absolutely.
Buxton staying healthy would also help pick up that weight. And who knows? Kirilloff might hit 35 homers. He might bat, 300. I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. So with that, I feel like we're going to wrap things up with the opening day a few days away. We hope I got 2 words for you. Play ball, guys. So Stan, I thank you. I really appreciate you for coming on here, man.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will see you guys all next time when I will find someone new, hopefully. So
all right.
Have a good one, guys. Peace.